Good evening. Welcome to tonight's live stream. I am going to get started with tonight's show in a moment. I just need to let everyone on social media know that the stream is currently on the air. What's going on, Keating Rourke? Glad to see you here. Okay, now that everybody on social media knows that the stream is currently on the air, I want to give everybody a quick progress report on the SJS Direct 2024 catalog before I start tonight's show. Now, I recently got the covers for Isis Dark Incubus from Bill Walko today, and after getting the final art from him and the colorist, the book is ready for an April 2024 release. So I want to show everybody the sketch art that Bill Walko did for the Isis Dark Incubus cover before I start tonight's show. And this is the sketch work that Bill did, and the art looks spectacular overall. And I can't wait to get Isis Dark Incubus to everyone in April of 2024, because in this story, the goddess next door winds up under the influence of an incubus, which in this companion to John Haynes' Dark Succubus. And this story is a big one and a big event in the SJS Direct universe. So that book is coming in April of 2024. And in March of 2024, we are going to be launching the SJS Direct 2024 catalog with John Haynes' Illuminati. And John Haynes' Illuminati's cover, I'm eager to share with everyone tonight, because the John Haynes Illuminati cover, it has been done since last year by Mike Williams, but I wanted to make sure that the book was ready for print. And the book is currently ready for print right now in paperback, and just need to go get the file for it to show you guys. So the John Haynes Illuminati book is ready. The tab just didn't come up. No. And the book is ready right now. So the book is ready, and I am going to be paying homage to the 1988 movie Action Jackson, which starred Carl Weathers and Vanity with the John Haynes Illuminati cover. Now, this was a cover homage that was requested by a viewer, and I've been eager to do the homage to Action Jackson ever since I did the homage to A Low Down Dirty Shame, one of my favorite movies of the 90s, and I was eager to do this homage to the classic 1988 action movie Action Jackson with this cover homage, and it's going to be John Haynes Illuminati that kicks off the SJS Direct 2024 catalog. Now, John Haynes Illuminati's Kindle edition is currently up for pre-order, and if you guys want to pick up your own copy, of John Haynes' Illuminati, you can put in your pre-order by clicking the link that I've presented in the chat, because that's going to take you to Amazon where you can get your own copy. And you can also pre-order your own digital copy on Google Play. And you can also pre-order your digital copy on Smashwords right now. And there will be a paperback copy dropping in March 22nd. So you'll be able to get your copy of John Haynes' Illuminati on March 22nd. So I have 2 of the 3 SJS Direct 2024 books ready for publication. And I have a book that's going to be refreshed as well, getting ready to come out as well. So I have been working all through December on an edited, and refreshed version of the first ISIS series book, ISIS Omari's Revenge. And I got the art from Bill Walko back in December, and I'm getting that art colored right now. And I just talked to the colorist. So this book, I'm going to get the cover for it next week, and everything will be ready for this refresh edition of the book that basically brought the goddess next door into the modern SJS Direct universe with John Haynes. So anybody who missed out on Omari's Revenge because they didn't like the hand-drawn cover, you'll be able to get this refresh edition, which will be revised for spelling and grammar, because in 2011, I wasn't that great of an editor, but I've learned some things over time. So you're going to get a chance at the first ISIS series book in this refresh edition, and that book will be coming out very soon as well, and you'll be seeing ads for it coming soon in March of 2023 as well. So that's 3 of 4 books that are going to be a part of the SJS Direct 2024 catalog. And I've got an SJS Direct 2025 book ready to go, and that book is the one I call it Esteem Season of the Witch Girl, which follows up Esteem the Witches of Eastland. So that's the progress report I wanted to give everyone on the SJS Direct 2024 catalog before I get into tonight's topic. Now, with all of that perfunctory done, I'm going to get into tonight's topic. And tonight's topic is all about why Black women will choose Pookie over a decent man. Now, I was watching a Mad Black 80 video where he was talking about this woman who was on Instagram, and she was filling out a job application for her boyfriend. And over the course of that video, he talked about why some Black women choose Pookie. And this was a hard question for anybody to answer, but I'm going to give my observations from my days growing up in the South Bronx. Now, as a kid growing up in the South Bronx, I saw many what people would call fine women going out here and choosing to get with the Pookies, also known as the dope boys and the thugs and the bad boys, over the guys who were working hard in school, the guys who had a decent job. And I oftentimes used to scratch my head when I was about 14 or 15 years old to why these girls would choose these guys over a guy who was looking like he was getting his stuff together. And as I got older, I started to understand why many of these Black girls were choosing the Pookies over the decent Black boys. And the reason why they were choosing the Pookies over the decent Black boys usually was because this was a dysfunctional model that she saw growing up in these dysfunctional single parent households, or these dysfunctional households where there was an uncle or a baby daddy or some dudes coming in and out. And because she saw mom participating in this behavior, this is why she was choosing the Pookies overall. Now, the main reason I believe a lot of girls were choosing Pookie and learned how to do this is due to the feminist movement of the 1960s. Now, before the feminist movement of the 1960s, we saw the black family actually grow in larger numbers than the white families. And marriage was a staple of black families all from the days of the Reconstruction all the way through the Jim Crow period. And in the 1940s, black marriages basically surpassed white and non-black marriages. And white supremacy didn't like that because the whole idea of black people forming functional, intact families was not something they wanted to promote, because if you have large populations of functional, intact black families with black fathers, you're going to have a large black family base of men and women who are showing a model of black love for each other. And if there is black love between black men and black women, there is no way for white supremacy to go out here and build wealth at the expense of black people. And what they wanted to do was go out and promote a narrative to try to prevent black families from forming, and prevent black families from forming because that creates a value system that empowers black people. One, two, it creates an economic system controlled by black men where they are controlling the economy and the dollars. And three, you're creating black wealth that is passed on from generation to generation. And as you have black families promoting black wealth, what is happening is you don't have people looking to white people for validation and approval. No, they are looking to black male leadership. And that's something white supremacy did not want to see. Black men being looked to as leaders and authority figures. And this was happening even though there were propaganda campaigns to demonize the black man as a brute and a minstrel. But that media wasn't having that much of an impact because we had black people staying together. And since black people were staying together, what they wanted to do was socially engineer the idea in black women's minds that the black man wasn't a viable partner, something that many black women knew wasn't true because they knew the reason why the black man had a hard time in the job market was because white supremacy and racists oftentimes made the black man's employment unstable, because a black man could easily be fired at the jobs he could get if he didn't have his own business, all because the white men or the white women in that business could not get any sort of everything bagels from the deli, or they couldn't get their favorite herbal tea. If they couldn't get these items at the delis downstairs, or they were out of copies of the New York Times, they took it out on a black man, especially a heterosexual black man, and that black man wound up losing his job. And many black women, before the feminist movement, understood why that black man was struggling, and they knew they were struggling too because they had to go out here and work because the black man's wages were reduced as related to the job market. He couldn't really get the same wages or even the same jobs due to the Jim Crow in the South and the discrimination in the North. So that they understood that about the black man and worked with that black man until the days of the feminist movement. Now, the feminist movement came along, and a lot of black women, what they wanted was that economic security. And because they wanted that economic security, what they did was side with the white feminists. And as they sided with the white feminists, this is where they looked to buy into the narratives that demonize the black man as some sort of trifling man who was incapable of caring for his family and unwilling to care for his family. This was the narrative that the feminists went out here and promoted with the help of many white leftists. And as they promoted these narratives, they promoted an ideal of economic security under their welfare state and with their jobs that they would give some, and I mean some, black women through affirmative action. Now, they would give some of these black women jobs through affirmative action, but the ultimate goal overall was to make sure that the black woman gained de facto economic power over the Black community. And as she gained de facto economic power by being established as the de facto head of household, what the white supremacists and the feminists wanted to do was give the Black woman control over the Black community and control over the Black family. And this is the foundation for Black women looking to choose a Pookie, because she wants to maintain the power that white supremacy basically gave her over the Black community as its de facto head of household and de facto leader of the community, because in order to get the welfare cases, they had to say there was no father in the home in the 60s and the 70s. And they also, as the de facto head of household, were given this power because they were the ones given most of the jobs through affirmative action programs. So, with this economic power given to them by the white leftists and the feminists, this is why the Black woman wants to get with Pookie, because the only man who would deal with her and allow her to maintain the pseudo power given to her is one of these Pookies. And again, a Pookie is not an actual man. He is a socially engineered social construct and a male who is taught to submit to female authority figures. This is what the feminist indoctrinated Black woman needs as a male to be her companion, to fit in this dysfunctional order that was established by white supremacy. So this is a complete reversal of God's natural order, an order where the man is the head of the household. The man is the one who makes all of the economic and business decisions of the household, and the one who controls the economic resources. This is the way God established the order, because he wants men and women to look up to him as the Lord. Unfortunately, what has happened with white supremacy is it has taken the Black woman's focus off of looking to follow the lead of the Black man and look to be the head and steward of the household under white supremacy. And because she's looking to be the head and steward under white supremacy, what she's looking to do is try to find a male who will go out here and be her helpmeet and submit to her authority. And this is what she's looking for in a male, because she knows she can't get this from a man, because a man is going to insist on being the head of household. He is going to insist on being the leader, and he is going to be insisting on establishing order over his household and establishing control over his home. That is what a man is going to insist when he gets involved with a woman. He is going to insist that his home meet his standard, which is established by the Most High God. That is what a man is going to insist upon. But the feminist indoctrinated Black woman, because she wants to continue receiving benefits from the system of white supremacy, she does not want to sit and be with this man or submit to this man. No, she doesn't want to submit to a man, because she doesn't want to give up the power that white supremacy has given her. And because she doesn't want to give up the power white supremacy has given her, what she does is look to find a male who she can get to submit to her. And that's the man that she wants. That's the man that she wants to have power and control over. And that's the man she picks to be her partner. And that's the main foundation of why she can't get involved with a man and gets with a Pookie. She wants to get with the Pookie because she knows she can get the Pookie to submit to her. And she knows that the Pookie basically will go out here and submit to her and look to follow behind her. That's the guy that she wants. And that's the core reason why she's picking the Pookie over the decent brother. Because again, with the decent brother who's doing well in school or got his job or got his paper together and getting himself in order, he is looking for somebody who is looking to follow his lead, and he's looking to establish a standard for himself. That is what the man who has his stuff together wants. But this woman doesn't want a man with his stuff together. No, what she wants with the Pookie mainly is a male who will submit to her. Now, these guys, they will put on a hyper masculine facade to make it look like they are so tough and so strong and so powerful. But when these males run up against female authority figures, these guys basically start to submit to the female authority figures. And that's what these women are looking for. And that's what they instinctively look for. And they feel and that feminine energy radiating from that guy. And that's basically what attracts them to him. Now, again, Pookie will have that hyper masculine facade where he's looking like a tough guy on the outside. But these women instinctively can sense the weakness inside of that man. And because she can instinctively sense the weakness inside of that dude, she knows that she can go out here and get leverage over that dude. And she knows that once she can get the leverage over that dude, she can get control over this relationship. Because when it comes to the Pookie, he has been socially engineered to be dysfunctional in the single mother household. And because he's a product of a single mother household, he has learned to submit to women. And because he has learned to submit to women and female authority figures, he is not looking to lead in the relationship. No, he's looking to follow behind women. And these women can basically see and sense this about this guy. And this is what stimulates their emotions. They can sense instinctively the weakness in this dude. And even though he's looking like a complete bad dude in the eyes of some of these guys out here, most of these women can smell the weakness on this guy and know they can get control over this dude because they know that this guy isn't very smart. And because they know he isn't very smart, they basically start to think they know better than he does. And that's something many of these brothers, they not really understand him. If she's involved with this kind of guy, usually she's thinking she's smarter than he is. Usually she thinks that she's better than he is, but he's not smart enough to go out here and connect the dots to understand that he's basically being played for a patsy. No, he's too caught up in the double D's, in the too tight bra or the spandex dress and the 66 rear end and the atomic waste reactor. He's too caught up in his thirst thinking about getting a chance to participate in getting her to drop the skid mark jockey thong and get a chance to get a taste of the atomic waste from the special place and participating in that nuclear fusion to ever think that this woman who he thinks is so hot and fly is basically using him as a pawn. What this dude basically is thinking, oh, I got a fly girl and I've got these guys out here really jealous because a lot of times with these dudes, they are out here thinking about getting social currency from these women and being out here with the guys because they're not having relationships with her because they care about her. No, they have relationships with her because they want to gain clout with their friends. And she basically has chosen him because she can get leverage and control over this dude. That's why you will see the single, successful, well-educated Black woman out here with this Pookie instead of a working class square dude, because with the working class square dude, she cannot have any power in that relationship, but she can have power in the relationship with Pookie. In the relationship with Pookie, she can be the de facto head of that relationship. She can be the smarter one because she has the degrees and she has the job that makes more money than he does. And as the de facto head, she can be the one who can dictate the terms of the relationship. This is something she can't do with a decent on point brother. No, she can't dictate the terms of the relationship with a on point brother because he's the one who is going to be the one running the show. But she can run the show with Pookie, who is somebody she can get the control over because he's only thinking about box and not thinking about building blocks to a stronger life and a higher quality of life. No, because he's not thinking about building anything, he's thinking only about getting what he wants from her, and he's looking to be cared for by her because this is the model of dysfunction he learned in the single mother household. Because inside of the single mother household, what Pookie has learned is a codependent relationship where he is cared for by his mother, and his relationships go from being cared for by mama to transitioning to another codependent relationship where he is cared for by the single, successful, educated Black woman. And instead of him being an equal partner in the relationship, he's basically like a child, and he's like a child because he's looking to get all of his needs cared for by this woman and not looking to go out here and take care of his own needs as a man. And because he's not looking to get his needs taken care of by himself the way a man does, what he's looking for is to depend on a woman. And that's another reason why these women choose the Pookie, because they know that he is somebody that has to depend on her. And that makes her feel emotionally secure because he is the one who will be under her control. And that's the reason why she likes the Pookie. She can get control over this dude. And as she gets control over this dude, what she does is get the leverage over this dude to be able to control him. And the way she's controlling him is she's got her name on the lease of the apartment or her name on the deed of the house. She got her name on the car. She got her name on all the bills. And this man cannot get out of this relationship because she controls all the ties of everything to his life. And because this man has no control over anything, she has all of the power. And this is the kind of thing that gives her a feeling of emotional security, in addition to the economic security she has been given by white supremacy. This emotional security makes her feel safe in a relationship as related to her own mindset of insecurity, because she feels if she has all of the power, this man cannot leave her. And this is one of the other core reasons why this woman is choosing the Pookie. She's choosing the Pookie because she is afraid of this man having any sort of power. Because when it comes to men who have control over themselves, who have their own job, have their own business, make their own money, they usually got their own spot. But white supremacy doesn't want the Black man to have that kind of power. And many of the Black females indoctrinated by feminism don't want that Black man to have that power because they fear that that Black man will leave. And they fear that if this Black man leaves, they will be alone. And in their efforts to try to maintain control over that man, what they want to do is control all the resources. And that's what white supremacy really wants to help them out with. White supremacy wants to help them out with this because they want to maintain control over the Black man, and they don't want the Black man to rise to get any sort of power in an interdependent relationship, because an interdependent relationship that a black man has with society basically makes it where these white supremacists and the black females they are enabling through white feminism that they've indoctrinated in, what they do is they can't get that power. And again, if that black man has power, that means they have to compete with those black men in the economy. But if you go out here and artificially alter the economy, what you do is eliminate the black male competition. And when you eliminate the black male competition and you get this beta male socially engineered, this Pookie, what you do is make it where this man has no real power or any sort of real agency. And again, this is why they want to choose the Pookie, because this allows them to have that security, because many of these women are insecure, and they're insecure because they fear that if this black man wants to get up and leave, he will leave. And that's what really scares them about this black man having his own job, having his own money, having his own ability to make his own choices about his life, be able to make choices. And what they fear is that this black man will make a choice and not choose her. That is the big fear, and that's why they want to choose the Pookie, because they fear a black man who's on point will not choose them. And that's why they want to choose the Pookie, not only because he is cute or so-called good looking, but basically because they don't want this man to have the ability to make the choice himself. So that's the other reason why they choose the Pookie over the decent black man. They'll choose him because, again, he has no options to make choices for himself. He has no money, and more importantly, he doesn't have a mind to think about making his own choices or taking his own power, because in a lot of cases, his power was taken away by his mama, who emasculated him when he was very young. And as she emasculated this boy and taught him a codependent frame of thinking, he never really thinks about going out here and making choices to empower himself. No, instead of him looking to make choices to empower himself by going out here and getting his own job or going out here and working on whatever ventures he wants to do, what this dude does is always waiting for a woman to tell him what to do. And he's basically looking for the woman to give him instruction and guidance. But sadly, what this male never understands, because he has no relationship with the Most High God or God or his son, the Messiah, or has never read a Bible, has not been taught about his role as a man. No, he is bought into the system of white supremacy, and he believes that it's his role to submit to women, not understanding that the Most High God made him as the man first, made him to be the head, made him to be the leader, made him to be the authority, but he doesn't want to take that power because sadly he has been brainwashed by the feminist and the white supremacist, and has basically been brainwashed to believe that he is supposed to be under the woman, and that's why he's out here and thinking, oh, I just want to get with her. She's so hot, she's so fly, and looking for her to be a place to stay. That's what he's looking for. He's looking for her to care for him like a mama, and that's why she wants to choose him over a quality man, because choosing a quality man means that she has to be in an interdependent relationship. And in an interdependent relationship, she has to, one, submit to the authority of that man, two, follow the lead of that man, and three, be accountable to that man as related to his program under God's order. That is what this many black women don't like to do, because they've been indoctrinated by feminism to believe they don't need a man. However, what they do is get with a male, and they get with the male because they want to, again, maintain their power, and they want that power more than they want to be a part of God's order. What they want to be is a part of this order established by the state where they can be in the superior position. And in order to be in the superior position, she needs a man who will be subservient under her, a man who will go out here and look to be under her authority. And that's what Pookie is as a male. He is under her, and that's why she'll choose him. And you'll have a lot of guys wondering, oh, why did she choose that dude? He's in and out of jail. He has no job. He has no education. He's not looking to do anything. Well, she's choosing him because she loves having that power over that man. She loves having control over that man. She loves having leverage over that man. And if he decides to ever challenge her in any way, shape, or form, he is going to suffer consequences such as, one, her, if he's involved in illegal activities, she is aware of all of it and will contact law enforcement to give him a timeout in the jail or and the penitentiary with Bubba, Tiny, Roscoe, Big Dave, Melvin, and Mr. Sprinkles. And he will be suffering as he's being traded for Little Debbie snack cakes and ramen noodles, packets of Crystal Light, and Taster's Choice coffee, and Mr. Sprinkles is spraying the special sauce all over his face. She gets pleasure out of seeing this man broken, and that's another thing that gives her pleasure, is seeing this dude basically being at her tender mercies, because she can do that option of calling 911 if this male gets out of line. This is something she learned from her single mother, and she can also get some pleasure if this guy ever gets out of line, because she controls all the bills. She can get this guy put out of his home, have him on the street, and have him living in fear of her. And this is what, again, the power that she gets off on. She gets off on being able to say she can be the god over this black male. This is what she likes, and this is why she chooses the Pookie over the decent black man, because if she goes out and starts getting in the decent black man's face, he has economic resources in having his own job, having that place in his name, and having his car in his name. He can pack up all his stuff and be on his way. And she's just stuck there, and with all of her emotions, with her grill cooking, and there's nothing that she can do to retaliate against him. So that's why she's choosing Pookie, because he can be punished for his actions. And you can't do that with a working brother. No, a brother who is on point, she can't go out here and get into the drama with him, because he can always end the drama. He can always shut everything down, unless he's a simp. Now, a simp will sit there and go back and forth with this woman as related to trying to keep that relationship. But a man who is on point will, if he sees this woman acting a fool and getting insecure, he is going to charge that woman to the game and keep it moving. And as he keeps it moving, that what she's going to be is left behind. And that's what scares many of these black women. And that's why they choose the Pookie, because Pookie is somebody they can get power over. And a lot of guys, they get it all twisted. They think, oh, this dude is running the streets. He's a big time dope boy, or he's some thug with some guns. No, that's just a hypermasculine facade to make you feel intimidated. If this guy had any real power, again, he would be able to go out here and put stuff in his name, like an electric bill. He'd be able to open his own bank account. He'd be able to go out here and file his taxes and pay for his taxes. He would be able to go out here and be legit. But this dude ain't got none of that. Yeah, he may have bought a car from the auction, bought one of these Benzes or one of these BMWs that's probably going to cost, if he drives it for a while, get some sort of issue, and then he's got to get rid of it. but he ain't really got it like where the guy who's working legit, where he can go out here and buy himself one straight off the used lot brand, like that's got a few miles on it, or even if he wanted to go out here and buy it brand new and own it straight, he doesn't have it like that. But a lot of guys, when I was in high school, they would get intimidated by these guys with their facade. But this woman is choosing him. And again, she's choosing him because this is a reflection of her. And it's a reflection to show you that what she is really grimy. I mean, a lot of guys, they get it real twisted, where they're sitting there thinking, oh, this fine woman chose the Pookie. And they're thinking, oh, she chose the Pookie because she's being misled by this dude. No, this chick knows what she's doing. I've sat there at the lunch tables listening to these chicks back in high school in the late 80s, listen to them on the train in the 90s. They know why they chose this dude, and they chose the Pookie because it's just somebody they can get leverage over, because they know that they cannot push back against a man who has his stuff together, but they can push back against this guy, and they can push back against this guy the way that single moms used to push back against their sons in the single mother household in their efforts to go out here and break that boy and prevent him from learning what he needed to be a man. What she wants to do is to have a dude she can get that edge over, get that control over, because if he's out here doing dirty stuff and sharing it with her, she can go out here and flip stuff on him. And that's what she's looking for, that leverage. She knows she can get that leverage. You can't get that leverage on a decent brother who has his paper on point and has clean records. No, in that place, you are dealing with a dude who is setting a standard for accountability and has accountability and is holding you to accountability. But this chick basically wants to not be a responsible person. And this is why she's choosing raggedy dudes, because she's basically raggedy herself. And that is reflected in these chicks and how they go out here and they've got the life on the outside where they're saying, oh, I got the big job, I'm making the big money, I'm driving a nice car. But you're looking at it from the inside and you see the student loan bills, you see the credit card bills, you see that this woman is behind on her rent. And while she's got it on the outside looking like she's a big shot, nothing's together. But that's why she doesn't want the decent brother, because he's going to insist that her papers are all in order before she gets involved with him. And and what she doesn't want to do is get involved with a dude who has things in order, because he's going to insist that she have everything in order to be involved with him. I mean, any decent brother who has his papers together, has his bills all paid on time, he's going to look at this woman who's so-called fly and say, hey, why are you only paying minimum payments on this credit card? Why are you only paying minimum payments on these student loans? Why are you taking out loans for this degree for over $100,000 at this top university when you can get that same degree at another school for 50% less? And he's going to be looking at her papers and looking at everything around her to make sure it's on point. And she don't want to get it on point because, again, that pride, which is a major thing that undermines Black women, that pride is going to prevent her from doing that, because she's going to be too proud to say, hey, everything's messed up. Whereas a man is going to say, look, this has got to get on point if you want to get with me. But they don't want to get with that dude because they want to be the ones in charge of their chaotic lives. What they want to do is be in charge of everything. And while everything is a complete mess, they want to be the ones running the show, but the show ain't running real right. And Pookie don't know that because he's been living with single mom who has been on welfare, has been out here living in that same dysfunctional fashion where she's been paying the Section 8 man $20 here, paying the Con Ed man $12 there, paying the cable guy $5, or paying the cable guy when he's about to take it off $5 not to turn it off. I mean, this is the game that she's been running, and that's what the college-educated BW likes to do, the exact same game. But you can't explain this to Pookie, because for Pookie, this is perfectly normal. Whereas for the on point brother, he's going to be looking at that whole situation as related to her fiscal situation and saying, look, this ain't really right here. If I can get my money straight, and why can't you get your money straight? And that's the thing. That's why she doesn't want to choose the decent brother. Again, that accountability is there. That is the reason why she don't want to choose him. And the great irony is she'll be thinking that she's smarter than this dude. But the whole thing is that the on point brother is in a better place than she is. But many guys, because all they're looking at is this woman's outside, they're not looking at the inside. It's not until you see them pictures like some have shown on IG of these women where they have the mattress on the floor or the room that's just the carpet's just completely filthy. That's when you start to see, oh, wait a minute, this chick, she makes it look on the outside like she's so fly, but there's no food in the refrigerator. There is no, the carpet's all dirty, the kitchen's all dirty, but all she can do is put on some clothes and put on some perfume to cover up the ravioli smell of the funk under the skid mark thong. They can't do anything at all, but you'll have a lot of guys who are young and they're getting their stuff together thinking, oh, you're missing out. No, you ain't missing anything. Again, she's choosing a dirty dude because she's dirty herself. And you got to understand she's choosing him for a reason. And the reason she's choosing him is because this is who she is a reflection of. And this is the person who is a direct reflection of everything as related to her values and character. And this is why she's choosing this dude, because she is not somebody who wants a decent man, because she's not decent herself. And this is something that many good brothers or working class brothers or on point brothers don't understand. They just get upset and at the hot girl not paying them any attention instead of understanding, brother, you just dodged a bullet. Brother, you dodged a bullet on this one because while the outside looked nice, you don't want to know what's in that house because if you go in that house where this woman lives, you will see things that you just don't want to see. No, you're going to see some stuff you just don't want to see up in there. It's going to be a house of horrors. That's why she takes you to the hotel, because she don't want you to know how she lives. She'll let Pookie know how she lives, because Pookie basically is just like her. And Pookie ain't got no other place to go but mama's house and the racing car bed. And this is the whole situation. Again, why she's choosing the Pookie. She's choosing the Pookie because the Pookie fits into her dysfunctional world. And that's the reason why she's choosing the Pookie. Many of these guys think, oh, he's the one that is the one causing the problems as related to her being with other quality guys. No, she's been choosing that guy for a reason. And because she chose him for a reason, you have to accept that she's chosen him for a reason and accept this is who she is. This is what I had to learn at 16, 17 years old. And after I learned it, I never got upset whenever I saw girls with the dope boy. No, I just accepted it as it was. And I accepted it because if she's with this dude, she's with him for a reason. And I can't get mad about this. No, she's with him for a reason, and you can't really get upset about that whole situation. No, you got to understand that this person doesn't meet your standard and can't really get to your standard and will never rise to your standard. And because they don't rise to your standard, you have to understand you don't need to bring yourself down to her level. Because what I see with too many working class guys is they'll bring themselves down to her level. And that's the biggest mistake that any dude can do. I mean, if you're getting your stuff together and you got it where it needs to be, you got to understand it don't matter how fly she is. She's in at that level with Pookie because this is the level of water that she's on. And again, like the late David Carroll used to say, water seeks its own level. And if she's at the bottom, she's at the bottom for a reason. And you need to leave her at the bottom for a reason. If you've got your stuff and you've got it going right and you're flowing and really stuff is going on point, you can't get mad at her for being her. No, you got to accept, like I said in the previous live stream, this is she's as is. And because she's as is, you've got to accept this is who she is and accept it and go on about your business and leave her to Pookie. Now, T-Mac makes a good point. He says he sees women on IG be on trips, being stunning at the hotels and stuff, and then be asking him for money. Again, this is the type of game that these women try to run, and they run this because they find simps online who will give them the money. And I talk about this in Stop Simping in cyberspace. What these women do is they'll make it look like they are so-called ballers, but in most cases, they're the ones going up and begging dudes for money and getting this money from the Cash Apps and the PayPals and getting themselves paid to basically pay the $15 or the $10 on the Con Ed bill or the $5 on the cable or the stuff like that. Because this is how these women who choose Pookie roll. And Pookie's laying there in Mama's racing car bed, or he's in the back on the crusty mattress from 10 years ago, and you're paying for her to get her back blown out by Pookie on the crusty mattress, on the dirty carpet in the apartment. You're paying for all of that, and that's what a lot of decent brothers don't understand. These women, again, this is who they are, and you got to accept who they are. What's going on, Rob IS, Information Man Show? Glad to see you here. Talking about why many decent black women choose Pookies over quality brothers. And I've talked about this. And again, they love this guy, like RB says, they love drama and they see him as a guy they can use as a Venus flytrap. They also see him as what I call a simp bull, and they use him to go out here and instigate and start drama. And they use these guys to be out here and do stuff. And that's what they do. What's going on, Elijah Justice? What's going on, KJ? One Phobos. Tall boy with short pants. I mean, Supremo, glad to see you here. And yeah, he is right. You need to get your name on that lease, because I wouldn't even live with these kind of women. What you want to do is have your own stuff. You want to have your own stuff, have your own things on point. You want to be able to have your own stuff together. You don't want to deal with this woman, because what you do, a lot of simps do, is they marry these women, not understanding these women have a lot of debt. I mean, a lot of these women who are with Pookie, they have a lot of debt because they're not only paying the bills $5 and $10 here and minimum payments here, they're also paying for Pookie stuff. And Pookie ain't really working nowhere except a couple jive hustles. That's all Pookie is doing right now. And Pookie is just sitting there, and he's not somebody out here doing anything. He's talking about what he's about to do. Again, like Mad Voodoo Man said many years ago about the about to chick, he's always talking about what he about to do. But 3 months later, we don't see no results. 6 months later, we don't see no results. We don't see anything tangible that he's put together. And she likes it that way, because she doesn't want a man that she has to compete with. And she doesn't want a man to compete with her, because in the system of feminism, they want to have that power and control over that man. They don't want to deal with a man who has any sort of ambition or drive or tenacity towards anything. No, what they want is a guy who basically is like a child, looking to her to get his needs met, looking to her to get what he needs, and looking to go out and just wait for, anticipating getting the next Madden game on Xbox or PS5, or the next guy look to her to find out when he can go out here and get the new exclusive Jordans, not looking to work to get his own, because he has no sense of self-esteem, no sense of self-confidence, and doesn't understand what these things are, because these are things that men get when we go out into the world. when we go out here and work on something that we want to accomplish, it builds our confidence. I know from having jobs, you feel a sense of confidence when you are on a job, and you feel an energy of positiveness inside of yourself that you've accomplished something. And that's something Pookie doesn't have. And that's something that she enjoys because, like Roaches and Rats Repellent Pack said, it matches her natural energy. And it's the way she controls him because that negative energy is what attracts her to him. All of that negativity is what attracts her to this dude because she's not attracted to a man who has strong masculine energy and a sense of self-confidence because she doesn't have any confidence in herself. No, she's insecure, and she's insecure, and this is why she's choosing a Pookie, because she doesn't see anything great reflected in her. And because she doesn't see anything great reflected in her, this is why she chooses a guy who she thinks is beneath her. Because as she's insecure, she wants to have power over this dude. She wants to be able to break this dude down and have control over him like a child. And she gets off again on having that power over that man. And she really gets upset whenever she sees that man taking moves that will allow him to have his own power. Because a man who has his own power, this scares many of these women who have been indoctrinated into feminism. It scares them to see a man having his own power, having his own agency, having his own sense of direction. And it scares them because they have no faith in that man to be with them out of love. Because a woman who is emotionally secure when she's with a man and knows he loves her, she's not afraid to be with that man. She knows, okay, this dude is here. He ain't going nowhere. So she's not scared to be with that guy and scared of him having standards, and because she understands his standards are going to improve both of their lives. When a decent guy is out here, they know that his standards are gonna be the ones that are the ones that are going to help them improve. And they're not going to be sitting up there talking about, oh, that guy's controlling. No, they're going to understand this dude is protecting me. Whereas with the Pookie, what she wants is this hyper masculine facade of protection where he's got to act real tough. Whereas a secure woman, she understands when this man is trying to tell her about something, she understands, okay, this dude is trying to protect me. And it's better that I listen to him because he's got life experience in this world, especially the world of men. And she knows that, okay, if this guy is saying something, maybe I need to listen to that brother. I need to listen to that brother because this brother is looking out for me. But with Pookie, she needs to look out for him because she's scared that when he goes out into the world, he doesn't know how to make decisions, but he doesn't know how to make decisions because he has never been taught proper male life skills or male survival skills and does not know how to navigate the world. He does not know how to go out here and one, control his emotions, to know how to read people or understand people. He doesn't understand how things work in the world, and he needs to be led and controlled by this woman. And if a dude is being led by a woman, then he's in a bad place as a man. And that's what Pookie doesn't understand. He's in a bad place as a man, and he's in a bad place because he's following behind a woman and not leading himself. And that's one of the things I talked about in the upcoming video that about Mad Black 80 talked about regarding this dude having a woman fill out his job application. Again, that's coming from a position of weakness because it's a man's job to look to get his own job because that is a sign of his leadership and a sign of his leadership because he is the one setting the direction for himself by going for what he wants. And that's something that really makes women who are healthy really smile about it because they're saying, hey, this guy's taking the lead over his own life. And if he's taking the lead over his own life, then he can take the lead in our relationship. That's something that women want to see who are healthy, but feminist indoctrinated women, when they see this, they get scared, and this is why they choose Pookie, because Pookie isn't going to take any lead. No, Pookie is just going to follow, and that's why she wants Pookie, and she will choose the Pookie because he will follow behind her. And as he's following behind her, she's out here thinking she's got complete control. But the whole thing is that her control is nothing but chaos, because this guy is dealing with a woman who will get more and more insecure. And this is where she starts to pull these crap tests and these games that undermine the growth of the relationship and undermine the growth of the relationship, because she cannot ever trust a Pookie, because in the backside of her mind, she starts to get scared. Oh, this guy is going to leave, this guy. And then she winds up participating in self-sabotage and manipulative stunts in an effort to control this man. But those stunts basically wind up blowing up in her face, and it leads to what I call the paradigm of failure in my book, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. And you can get that book. Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, in paperback and Kindle format on Amazon.com by clicking the link in the chat. Thank you, Information Man Show, for the super chat. I really appreciate it. He says, great points, brother. Thank you again for the super chat. If you guys want to donate to the stream and help out with keeping me on the air, again, you guys can donate to the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. 100% of that money goes to me and helps me to be able to pay for the covers for books on the SJS Direct imprint, like the ones I just showed you guys earlier. But I'm going to get back into this topic because I really want everybody to understand, especially brothers, that her choosing Pookie is not a bad thing for you. I mean, this is what I had to deal with when I was growing up in high school. I had to deal with this all the time with a lot of guys. They would think, oh, he's a drug dealer, and that makes you a loser. No, you are ahead of the game, and you have to understand, again, if she's choosing grimy guys, then she's clearly grimy, and you have to leave her in the dirt with the Pookie, because what she's doing is showing you who she is. You have to accept, okay, this is who she is. If she's showing you through these actions that she's loving these kind of guys, then she doesn't really love herself. And you can't love someone who doesn't love herself, because if she doesn't love herself, there's no way she can love you. And the choice of man she is choosing shows that she doesn't love herself, because women who love themselves don't choose men who are participating in dysfunction and self-destructive behavior. No, there's no guy, no woman out here who loves herself is going to choose that guy. And she's not going to want to choose that guy because she wants to help meet the needs of a man who wants to build, and she wants to choose a man that she wants to build with. That's what a healthy woman will do. And the whole thing is, you have to understand, like is attracting like when she chooses Pookie, and she's choosing Pookie again for a reason. And that reason is basically, this is a woman who has a mind that is a complete mess. Yes, her body be looking good, and that's just her overcompensating because she knows that her headspace is a wreck. Because if her headspace was on point, she wouldn't have to try so hard, because if she really wanted, again, to get with a quality man, she would be a quality woman of character herself. And that's another thing good brothers got to understand about women who choose Pookie. Women who choose Pookie, they are basically showing you that they are choosing him because this is what she wants. And again, if she's choosing him over a decent brother, then basically she's not attracted to you, because this is the energy she's radiating, like the brother said, negative energy. Because if she was radiating positive energy, she'll be attracted to a positive brother. Again, like attracts like, and that's what she does. Again, you can't get mad at her for choosing who she want to choose. You just got to accept it for what it is. I mean, that was a lesson I learned at 15 years old. Okay, they choose who they want to choose, but I've got to make the choice to go on and be the best me I can be. That's what a man has to do out here. A man's got to understand he's got to choose who he's going to choose. And if she's not choosing you, then that's not a bad thing. It means that your time is not going to be wasted. And if she's saying no to you, you can say yes to a better life, and you can say yes to a better life, because if she's choosing Pookie, you can't take it personal. No, she's choosing him because this is who she sees herself reflected in. And if she's seeing herself reflected in a Pookie, then you can understand you didn't lose anything. No, you didn't lose anything at all. But a lot of brothers, they sit there and wonder, oh, why did she choose that Pookie? Why is she with this dude? Well, she with that dude because that's the kind of dude she's into. And if she's into that kind of dude, then all you got to do is smile because you dodged a bullet. Because from what I've seen growing up as a kid, a lot of these same ones who chose the Pookie eventually wound up becoming baby mamas and single and baby mamas, and wound up stuck with this guy in their life, or having two or three of these kind of guys, and again winding up on a paradigm of failure. So you basically wound up being ahead in the game, because you could have been the guy getting jammed up, stuck in family court, going back and forth with this woman, and dealing with all of the issues of her and that dysfunctional family, and all of the games she's gonna play. Because when it comes to the Pookie, he's got to deal with all sorts of crazy crap tests where she's picking fights with dudes, trying to get you into stuff with them, getting you into beefs and back and forth, got you out here fighting dudes and putting your freedom at risk, got you at risk of getting locked up and losing everything, having to deal with a lot of drama. I mean, that's what happens when a guy goes out here and gets with a woman who likes the Pookie. He winds up in a situation where he gets jammed up, and he gets jammed up real bad, because the whole situation is a nightmare that you could avoid. And again, if she's not choosing you, you have basically wound up in a situation where you won at the end of the day. But I wanted a lot of brothers to understand why she's choosing the Pookie, because a lot of guys complain, oh, she chose the Pookie, she chose the Ray Ray. You can't get phased about that. No, you can't get phased about that at all. You doing all right if she said no to you. You doing fine, because it shows that you are in a better place, and you can't get upset. No, all you have to do is be happy, because you just, again, I'll repeat it again, you dodged a bullet. You dodged a bullet as related to your time in your life, which is precious, and you can't get back. You don't have to deal with baby mama drama. You don't have to deal with nonsense. You don't have to deal with crazy stuff and back and forths and people blowing up your phone or coming to your job. I mean, this is the life that Pookie brings when he's involved with this kind of woman. She's bringing chaos to you, and this is what's happening as related to a guy who is out here, and he's like, oh, she's all the fine women are with the Pookies. No, you ain't got to deal with none of that stress. You ain't got to deal with them headaches. You ain't got to deal with a grown man who she can't even take to a job. This is something I talked about in a video many years ago, how this is the guy who she can't even bring to her company party, because he's going to show up in some spice tans and a denim suit talking about, yo, what's up? And stuff like that. I mean, this is what she can't bring this guy nowhere, because he's going to embarrass her and leave her to an embarrassment, because her life is an embarrassment, and you don't need that grief. But I want all the brothers out here to understand why she chose the Pookie, because a lot of guys, they wind up scratching their heads, and you don't need to be scratching your heads at all. No, you don't need to be stressing yourself out. Oh, she chose a Pookie. She chose a bad boy. She chose a thug. She chose a gangster. Well, she chose men who are dysfunctional, like the men that she grew up with. And if she's coming from dysfunction, she will bring dysfunction to them. And it's like Computer Robot said about the old African proverb, a race can rise no higher than the moral position of its women. And as the woman goes, so goes the race. And these women are in a race to the bottom, and you just have to leave them at the bottom while you try to work towards rising to a higher level yourself. That's what you've got to do. Again, these you got to really think about this because again, one of the biggest choices a man makes is the woman he gets involved with. That's something that I didn't understand as a teenager, but I started to understand when I got older. And I started to realize how blessed I was to not have a girlfriend in high school or junior high school, because a lot of those chicks, they basically were cracked and broken. And there was no way I could deal with those kinds of girls. And they were going to grow up to become dysfunctional women. And many of these dysfunctional women, they have the mindset because they believe that they are the head of household. They can fix a Pookie. That's another thing that many of these women, they choose the Pookie because they don't want to follow the lead of a man. No, they believe they can build a man up into an ideal and make him perfect. And that's a completely foolish notion because a boy is raised first by his mother because she's his first teacher. And what you get out of that boy is the direct result of that mother and that father. So what you see right there, again, this goes back to the as is philosophy. What you see with this dude is a direct result of his mother and his father. And you're not going to be able to fix anything about this dude, but you'll have black women out here thinking, oh, I can fix Pookie. No, you don't have the instruction manual for this dude. Only the Most High and Mama got the instruction manual, and you can't fix this dude. No, that's the mistake that many black women make with Pookie, is thinking they can fix him and turn him into their ideal man, but there's no fixing him again because the boy is a product of his mother, his first teacher, and if Mama couldn't get him on point because she's off her kilter, then you're not going to be able to fix him at all. No, when you get with a dude, he is as is, and what you see right here is what you're going to get. And with a Pookie, he's as is, and there is no fixing that brother. No, that's what every critical thinking woman out here who is on point and has a good family will understand. They understand ain't no fixing a broken dude. No, the only thing you can do with a broken dude is leave him in the junkyard of life and leave him to be crushed in the crusher. There is no fixing broken dudes. Only the Most High can fix a broken dude. But the whole thing is that these women think, oh, I can support him and take care of him. No, that was what Mama does because a dude who is broken is damaged and done. And again, the same thing with a broken female. There is no fixing this situation. You have to accept, okay, if this is broken as related to her and she's not looking to get any help, then I can't help you unless you want to help yourself. And if this person is broken mentally and spiritually, there's nothing I can do. No, I gotta just move on because this person, they are going to become like an anchor and bring you down. And that's what happens to those sisters who choose the Pookie. They wind up being brought down into a world of misery. And as they're brought down into that world of misery, they wind up being miserable in the company of this dude. And as they wind up miserable in the company of this dude, what happens is this woman winds up completely miserable, going back and forth, especially if she has kids with this dude for the next 25, 30 years, and they never wind up at peace at all. So there's no fixing this situation, but they think they can fix him. Again, more of that arrogance. I can fix him. No, you ain't fixing this dude because if Mama didn't teach him manners, didn't teach him respect, if Dad didn't teach him how to survive in the world or teach him how to navigate life in the world to be able to take the lead for himself, then he's not going to be able to take care of business and he's not going to be able to take care of you. That's what many sisters don't get about Pookie. They don't understand that if mama and daddy couldn't get him right, you're not going to get him right. No, he's going to go again from being in the racing car bed at mama's house to being on your sofa, and he's going to be playing the PS5 the same way. So you thinking you're going to fix him? No, ain't going to happen. And you are just wasting time out of your life. And I've seen multiple sisters over the last 30 years do this and wind up in a situation where they wound up really miserable, and their kids wound up miserable, and it became a paradigm of failure. And I've seen guys out here scratching their head again. I keep saying scratching their head, wondering why this is, but this is because, again, they, like D-Boss is saying, birds of a feather flock together, and this is where these chicks are just completely broken, just done and damaged. And again, you're wasting your time. That's what happens here. I mean, this is what's going to go on as related to them choosing Pookie. And you got to understand she's choosing who she is just like. And you got to understand this. And if you understand this, like I did when I was a teenager, you'll be able to go on with your life at peace, go on and just focus on you and focus on your goals. That's what you'll understand as related to that of this whole situation. Because I see so many brothers out here, especially young cats, they think, oh, there's something wrong with me. No, there's something wrong with her. And again, you have to understand what's wrong with her, and she doesn't love herself. And you can't spend time trying to find a way to get this woman to love who she is. No, you just got to accept that there's 4 women for everyone, man. There's 7 billion people out here, and you can do better than being with a toxic girl whose whole world is nothing but chaos. Now, before I get ready to wrap up tonight's stream, I'm going to ask everybody to help me get my first sale for the year of 2024. I mean, we are 6 days into the year, and I'm still looking to get that first paperback and ebook sale for 2024. And one of the books you guys could pick up is Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. And this book further explains everything, and you can pick up a copy by clicking the link in the chat. Now, another book I wrote that will help you really understand everything as related to the dysfunction of the modern woman is The Woman Crisis. And this book will basically explain everything to why many of these women out here are in a dysfunctional state. And this book will basically explain everything to why so many women are. You can pick up a copy of The Woman Crisis on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. And you can also find a copy at other online booksellers like Smashworth, the iBookstore, and Google Play. And a book that will keep you from being upset about these women who choose Pookie is Stop Simping, Why Men Don't Need Finance to Get Romance. And this book is on Kindle right now for just $2.99, and it's available in paperback as well. And this book will get you out of the simp paradigm that will have you sitting there thinking, oh, why did she choose Pookie? You can get Stop Simping in paperback and Kindle format. And this book will get you out of the simp paradigm. It'll have you upset. Oh, she picked the Pookie. You won't be fazed after you read this book. You won't really care about anything as related to these kind of women after you read this book. Thank you, RL, for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate all of your support. Thank you again. Really appreciate everybody being here. And if you guys want to, again, continue to help me stay on the air, you can donate to the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. And also that in the chat, that helps me to be staying on the air to continue giving you guys great streams like this. We have 59 in the room, and we have, let me see how many likes we have. Let's get the likes up. Somebody asked me about Kevin Samuels. That's another video, but that's not going to be discussed here on the live. I like to stay focused on my topics. I like to stay focused on my subjects. And after watching Mad Black 80's video where he talked about a grown woman filling out a grown man's job application, he talked about the talking point about why black women and women in general choose the Pookies. And I felt like going more in depth on the subject because a lot of brothers, we sit there and wonder, oh, why did she choose that dude? Well, I'm explaining from my point in my experience of why they choose them. And again, if she makes that choice, you leave her to that choice and you leave her to the fate of that choice. That is what you do when you deal with these kinds of women, and understand if you want to move yourself ahead, you have to move past these women who are like this, because again, water is seeking its own level and you can do better than being in a sewer. And with that being said, I'm going to get ready to wrap up tonight's stream, which was streamed on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. I'm going out here, I'm looking to further expand the channel and further looking to expand the audience. I'm sorry, Ryan, you got here a little late, but we can catch the rebroadcast. But it's 12:42 out here, and I got to get back to work on the 2024 catalog books and start laying out the 2025 books. And again, you guys can pre-order John Haynes' Illuminati, which is coming on March 22nd on Kindle and Google Play. Or if you want to wait for the paperback on March 22nd, that book will be available. And I'm hoping that you guys will enjoy the next John Haynes book, again, Illuminati. This is where the man who rules the world takes on the global elite. And I hope you'll pick up that book or pre-order it. And I hope you guys will be here for next week's stream. Everybody have a great evening and a great morning. And everybody who's on the East Coast have a good night.